Our guest on the show today will be helping with your stock-specific questions. Hi, morning, and welcome to the show, both of you. Avinash, a quick market take, and then later on we'll slip into our viewer queries. But good day, a good rebound.
Yeah, I think Kavita, good to know that the markets have bounced back. I think all credit to Donald Trump. I think today the markets will be closely observing his speech, which he is going to give in the U.S. Parliament. And I think any indication of a war getting over is definitely going to be welcomed very strongly by the markets. The next few days are very important, but we'll have to wait and watch. But I think definitely the markets have opened well. I think yesterday U.S. markets also closed in a very good kind of upward trajectory. So I think let's keep our fingers crossed. But I think it looks like if the war gets over very soon, then the rebound effect could also be equally sharp. So I think definitely it's a good day, and hopefully I think even in the second half, this rally should be sustainable.
Absolutely. Morning. How are you doing, sir?
Fine. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you so much for sending us your question. You can ask your queries. Our experts can hear you.
Yeah, I'm holding 9,400 shares of HDFC Bank at 86 rupees. I'm a senior citizen and I'm a long-term investor. Can I continue to hold it or should I book my profits? What are the future prospects of this company?
Oh, that's lovely, and congratulations to you, and definitely a blockbuster corpus that you have created. I just want to know, how were you handling yourself during volatile times?
I'm a buy and hold type of investor.
Okay.
Most of the shares I'm holding are being held for the last 20-25 years.
I think that's a proof of a very solid investor. In fact, the basic fundamentals of becoming an investor is just buy and hold it and sit with it. That is what you've done. So congratulations. Avinash, how would you like to guide him?
No, I think, as you rightly mentioned, Kavita, I think he has genuinely been a long-term investor. And I think, looking at his buy price in HDFC Bank, I think he can safely assume that, he's recovered his capital not only from the stock price, but from the dividends earned from HDFC Bank. But I think longer term, if the investor has a, time frame of at least next 2 to 3 years, he should stay invested. See, HDFC Bank is one of the larger private sector banks. Has a very well capitalized structure, and despite the short term kind of headwinds, I think longer term the bank definitely appears to be quite attractive. So I think he can continue to hold. He should probably look at the next 12 to 18 months as a kind of a time frame, since he's already invested for a long time. He should expect a decent risk reward over the longer term. So there's no reason for him to sell out immediately if he doesn't require any emergency funding. Definitely long-term prospects appear to be good. He can continue to hold.
And let's take a WhatsApp question. This is from Mr. Raj. He's from Pune, and he's bought 6,000 shares of AB Capital at 173, and he wants to hold it for 5 years. Or if it's a good time to switch, what should be the strategy going ahead? I'll come to both of you. Avinash, I'll start with you first.
No, I think he should definitely hold on. See, I think the NBFC space is quite interesting, and Aditya Birla Capital has a lot of value components which can be monetized over the next, say, 2 to 3 years. If the investor has a very long-term time frame, I would suggest him that he can possibly, average also at the current level, provided he can take a time frame of at least 2 years plus. The business has been growing very rapidly, very little asset quality problems. And plus, the business is going to grow. Our sense is that next year, that is FY27, should be significantly better compared to last year. So I think definitely the management bandwidth and the business opportunity looks very promising. So continue to hold, but keep a time frame of at least minimum 2 years, from now on.
Avinash, what would you recommend?
I think I would prefer to wait for the Q4 numbers and the commentary going forward, Kavita. But definitely, I think, at lower levels, definitely this is a good opportunity to stay invested here. My sense is that after the Q4, you will get little more clarity on the performance and on the kind of growth outlook. So that would be a better time to pick and choose, these companies. So till that, I think whoever has what these stocks can hold on, but fresh buying advisable only after the Q4 numbers are out.
Okay, this is a question from Mr. Bharatwaj, and he says he's from Coimbatore, and he has 780 shares of Exide at average price of 402. He wants to buy more at the current market price. Is that advisable? And also, he's looking to hold it for more than almost 2 to 3 years time frame. Okay, Avinash, I'll come to you. Is it? Do you advise for him to buy more at this level?
Kavita, Exide can definitely be accumulated. My sense is that this is a well-established battery manufacturer, which caters to most of the large OEMs. And now they have decided to get into batteries for electric vehicles. And this is also going to add to their revenue stream. I think looking at the buoyancy in the auto sector, my sense is that next year should also be equally good for them. So definitely, if he's got a long-term view, he should add gradually. But definitely, this is a stock which can give him a decent risk reward over the longer term.
Avinash, a quick take from you.
No, I think Apollo Tyres and Bajaj Housing are good bets, which can be accumulated even at the current levels. In fact, Bajaj Housing looks very attractive. Stock has been battered down very badly, but I think if you look at the fundamentals and the kind of housing opportunity in India, I think both these companies could be added at the current level. Maybe somebody could even do an SIP here. Keep a time frame of at least 12 to 15 months.
What's going to be your take, your advice, PFC REC?
No, I think REC appears to be much better, and I think there is some merger which is expected between both these companies. So I think in the overall set of things, I think REC would be positioned much better. I think take a 12 to 18-month view. I think within the power distribution and financing space, I think this could be a very good opportunity. Provided the investor can stay put for the next at least 12 to 18 months. We expect the power generation and the power financing sector to be definitely showing very strong trends going forward. So definitely at the current levels, you can do an SIP and stay invested.
Ash, let me come to you for this one. And his query is that he wants to buy Cipla as well as Mankind Pharma for investment purpose. What's your take here? Do you think that both of these stocks are the best amongst the pharma pack, or there are some better opportunities?
I think within the pharma pack, of course, Mankind Pharma and Cipla are definitely good choices. But I think, companies like Sun Pharma or even the Pharma, I think these are companies which are going to benefit significantly from the exposure in the US market. Most importantly, they have a wide variety of molecules and product categories. So, my choice would be to possibly invest in Cipla and Sun Pharma and something like a Lupin. Mankind Pharma is more like an FMCG business, and I think it doesn't really qualify as a large scale pharma manufacturer. So I think if the investor has a slightly longer term kind of horizon, wants to diversify into a slightly different category for pharma, then I think he can consider Mankind. But otherwise, Lupin and Sun Pharma look quite well positioned at the current levels.
The next query that I have is coming in from Balan. And Avinash, once again, let me take it from you, because his query is actually on some of these financial counters, and he's looking for a fresh buy in stocks like Shriram Finance, HDFC or SBI. What's your advice here? Within the IT pack, is it a good time to add maybe an Infosys or a Coforge at this price point? Looking to make SIP in these large caps, what will you suggest?
No, I think within the banking space, SBI definitely looks attractive. I think at these levels, I think if the investor has a 12 to 18-month time frame, he can definitely do an SIP here. As far as IT is concerned, I think Infosys and TCS, both these companies, our senses, they have been beaten down very badly. Q4 should be decent, and I think the next year should be obviously be much better. So TCS, Infosys, and maybe SBI, these could be companies, where you could do an SIP. I think probably these could be good choices in a volatile market like this. So keep a time frame of at least 12 to 18 months. I think he should do an SIP gradually here.
Mahendra, and he wants a fundamental take on DCX system 500, price is 265. Texmaco Rail 1200 quantity, 164 is the buy price. Avinash, I'll come to you.
Yeah, I think Texmaco Rail, I think it's got an order book of almost 4,000 crores, has been beaten down. But I think if you look at the overall opportunity over the next 2 years, it's a good entry point for an investor who can patiently wait for the next 12 to 18 months. So Texmaco Rail offers definitely good opportunity. The next trigger could come in when the government announces a fresh, wagon order, which is pending now, and I think hopefully by next year it should come in. So Texmaco Rail definitely offers value, but you need to stay invested for the next 12 to 18 months. And as far as DCX system is concerned, it's a defense play, and I think recently it got a large 600 crore order, which is expected to be commissioned over the next 18 months. So here also, I think the investor needs to take a slightly longer term call. A very strong, visible order book gives a good top line visibility for the company. So here also, you could acquire at the current level, but keep a time frame of at least 12 to 15 months.